Jesus. Hallelujah. Todah Rabba Yahweh. Baruch Hashem.
This preacher will never get it to me.
Hallelujah. Woo.
He's no longer tired.
Preacher, just keep me out of the valley of Acorn. Whatever you do, preacher, keep me out of the valley of Acorn. Been there, done that. What will I find in the valley of Acorn? Nothing but bondage, chains, and a lack of shalom. Yeshua said, if you do this word, not only you'll have shalom in yourselves, you'll go in and out in shalom. And walk in it and through it. That is, the people sell their fortunes, their homes, their children, a little inward peace they can sleep at night and have shalom. See, the sinner doesn't need to carry it, he can give it to the elders. The elders don't need to carry it, he give it to the rabbi for the major issue. Rabbi don't need to carry it because I already told you about my own brother. I had Avi Ben Mordechai sit in the car and he said to me, Rabbi, how do you deal with the things you deal with? There are people out there that hate you, they don't understand you, they don't know where you're coming from. How do you deal? I said, I don't. Since when did I have to deal with it? Since when do I have to deal with me? Since when do I have to deal with Rivka? Since when do I have to deal with you? I don't. I just have to deal with Yeshua.
Amen.
Right? It's a gift. I don't. I don't. Did anyone get anything out of this? Or do we need to start from the beginning? If you can't afford the tape and would prefer that we start from the beginning, please raise your hand. Come on, man, you've got that tape coming. You've got that tape. He's on the Yaddy subscription list. And he still wants me to start from the beginning. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now there's an idea. Absolutely.
Hardcore. We learned that you're alive.
Of dead preachers. Preaching dead sermons. Devarim 17. You know, the way I preach, to this day, I can't understand how these preachers preach 5 sermons every Sunday morning. I mean, it takes so much out of you. It's so much energy. I mean, you got to really, from where I come from, you got to believe what you're saying. You got to have conviction about what you're saying. How these guys preach 5 times on a Sunday morning is beyond me. I mean, think about it. How do they do it? They sit in the office, drink the coffee, they roll them out for a 20-minute sermon, back in the office, take off their shoes, roll them out again. That's got to be how they do it. They can't sit there and worship for 8 hours. They got to go back in the office, take off their shoes, and roll back out. That's the only way you can do it. I don't know, sister. I think you're right. Devarim 17. Devarim 17:8. We're having front row problems, by the way. This is a minor issue that's developing into a major issue. Yochanan, that's the minor issue developing.
I need a tissue.
Would you admit that, Yochanan, that you are developing into a major issue here?
We'll be taken before the elders.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. No, he's a good brother. Okay. See, Ted, you thought it was going to be all you today, see?
Yeah.
See, I'm taking turns. Devarim 17 and 8. 17 and 8. When any matter, we'll close with this. When any matter arises, turn your neighbor and say arises, which is too hard for you to show faith or to bring mishpat, ruling, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, between stroke and stroke, matters of strife within your gates. Is that Israel? Is that Israel? Within our gates, in our camp, in our midst, in our assembly. Where are we? Then you shall rise and pick a counselor that you're comfortable with. It says, then you shall rise and go to the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses. Now, we can't go to Jerusalem right now for judgment, but the principle is what? Yahweh chooses. That's the principle. You go to the place and the people and the elders and the rabbi and the structure and the government and the situation and the healing channel, the healing conduit that Yahweh chooses. Okay? That's the principle here. Yahweh doesn't mean they're the smartest. Doesn't mean they're the prettiest. Doesn't mean they're the most handsome or the most intelligent. It means they're the ones Yahweh has chosen. And when we get into trouble is when we choose our own counselors, right? And our own conduits of healing. And then we hide things under the tent. Let's continue. It shall come to the priests, the Levim, and the judge, who is in those days, and shall inquire. Does it say all the judges must know everything about the situation? Does it say that? No. They who are seeking judgment must come to the judges for judgment. Amen. What's that word again? Come to the judges for judgment and inquire. The judges, or the rulers, shepherds, will declare to you the word of mishpat and right ruling. Verse 10. You shall do all according to their word. Now listen very carefully. This is very important. You shall do all according to their word, which they shall declare to you from that place, which Yahweh chooses. Circle those words. Yahweh chooses. Ted, listen. You shall guard all they instruct you. Meaning, Yahweh chooses them to instruct you. Hello? Yahweh chooses them to instruct you. You do not choose them. They've been chosen for you. And that rubs us the wrong way because it seems to remove our individual freedom. Okay? Yahweh says, you go to the judges I have chosen, and you will guard. What is the word for guard? Shomer, the same word used for guarding my feasts. The same word used for guarding my Shabbat. The same word used, so Yahweh, listen, uses the same word, shomer, when Carrie, Tehillah, and Roberto instruct you, and you bring it to their attention immediately. You don't hide it. You don't fail to reveal an ongoing problem brewing in the camp. That says that they were chosen, and what they tell you, not only must you implement whether you appreciate their decision or not, you must guard it like you guard the Shabbat or the Moadim of Yahweh. For whatever they bind on earth has been bound in heaven, and whatever they loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Are we on? I'm just getting started, so I hope you're comfortable. This is going to be a nice close. Nice close. So Yahweh says, the principle here is not Yerushalayim anymore, because the hour has come when those who worship Yahshua must worship him in Ruach and in Emet, not on Mount Gerizim, not on Mount Moriah, for to please the Father will no longer be associated with a geographic location. Rather, it will be associated with a condition of the heart, which must be the Brit Halev, or the circumcision of the heart. So the time is now when Yahweh does not associate worship with geography, but rather with submission to his word, his people, his kingdom, and his Torah. Somebody give him praise. So that a pleasing worship is no longer tied to geography or to the land of Israel or to the land of Mozambique, or to the land of Costa Rica. It is a lack or a possession of the Brit Halev, the circumcision of the heart. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So when Tehillah speaks, when Roberto renders mishpat after consulting with what? Each other. Roberto, you cannot render mishpat. Tehillah, you cannot render mishpat without first consulting with each other around the word of Yahweh. Because they're looking for righteous judgment and quick judgment. If you're following Yahweh and you're not hiding the sin in the camp and failing to reveal it, but you come to the elders, don't ask your friend, you come right to the elders. The person who's guilty of unclean living, don't ask them if it's okay to go to the elders. You go right to the elders, but elders, your responsibility is to give quick judgment. Don't keep the situation hanging. Because if you keep it hanging for a month or 2 months till you get around to it, then you're no different than the person who fails to reveal a situation. Because, right, I may never find out, and I may not get to it when I need to get to it. So this minor matter that should be a great matter never becomes a great matter. So the same way that the Talmud can sit on this disclosure, so can the elders. You follow me? So when someone comes to you and you have the authority, make it within a reasonable amount of time. So notice Yahweh uses the word shomer. That means guard, like Shabbat, like the Moadim. Look at verse 11. Watch this. To do according, now listen, to the Torah which they teach you. Did you get that? So when they're issuing a mishpat or a judgment, go back to verse 8. It is plea versus plea. What is plea? What is a plea? You're pleading, he took my horse. The other person is pleading to the judge, no, he took my horse. It has nothing to do with Torah. These are matters of what? Disagreement. When it comes to matters of disagreement, plea versus plea, and you go to the elders that Yahweh has chosen, not that you have chosen, be careful. When you go to the elders that Yahweh has chosen, Ted, and they tell you what to do, brother, not only do you have no choice, but to obey. It says binding is Shabbat. It says binding is the Moadim. Shomer, now hang on, Shomer what? Shomer their Torah. You missed that. You'll miss that. What they've told you is Torah. Let's read it again. Let's read it again. Look at verse 11. Devarim 17:11. Do according to the Torah. What Torah? In rendering judgment in matters of strife within the gates, what they speak is not just from the Torah, it is Torah. My, if you just grab what I'm sharing with you, you'll never have problems in the camp. You'll never feel like you don't know what to do. You don't know who to go to. You don't know how to approach the situation. If you just guard and look at those elders as their sentence, their judgment as Torah, that's what it says. It doesn't say they're going to repeat the Torah. It doesn't say they're going to quote the Torah. It doesn't say they're going to reference the Torah. It doesn't say they're going to index the Torah. It doesn't say they're going to look it up on internet.com. It says the decision is Torah. And we don't like that, because I'm not going to let Tehillah tell me what to do. I'm not going to do it. I will not allow that. Fine, sister. No problem. Then you will reap the results of not following the Torah. Because they have been installed to deliver Torah. Roberto, you talk about a heavy responsibility, huh? You talk about a heavy responsibility. They've been installed by Yahweh to deliver Torah. I wouldn't want to be an elder. I wouldn't want to be an elder unless I was called to be an elder, because who wants to be in a position to deliver the Torah? Our job is to guard what they say, but not to deliver it. To deliver it is a major responsibility. Do according to the Torah that they teach you, according to the right ruling, they shall say to you, listen, You do not turn to the right. Listen please, brothers and sisters. You do not turn to the right. I'm talking about Deuteronomy 17. Or to the left. How can we say that in practical English? Don't ask the secretary. Don't ask your daughter. Don't ask your friend. Don't turn to the left and don't turn to the right. Turn to them. This is so simple that the devil tries to steal our healing. It doesn't matter if you like Roberto or Tehillah or Rabbi Moshe, but if you go to them, you'll get the healing that flows through the channel of the Torah that they are declaring to you. Who cares about feelings? It has to do with healing.
Amen.
Verse 11. Do according to the Torah which they teach you, according to the right ruling which they say to you. You don't turn to the right or the left from the word they declare to you. Now, look at me. The rabbis, the traditional rabbis, you know what they say? They're just talking about them. They say these verses are talking about the traditional rabbis. There's only one problem. They've rejected Israel's king. If they're not under his authority, why should this verse put you under their authority? So next time you're in a kosher restaurant and you say, my rabbi showed me, this is talking about the elders of Israel and the Shameshim, it's not talking, and the rabbi saying, no, it's talking about the Rabbonim, the Orthodox rabbis, the ones who wrote the Talmud. All right? And then you've got to be submitted to them, because that's what they say. They say there's no high priest, there's no temple. So these verses talk about the Rabbonim who make halacha for Israel. Right? You know what the response is? Rabbi, I'll believe that these verses apply to the unsaved, unregenerate, traditional, Messiah-rejecting rabbis when you could show me you're willing to submit to Yeshua as King of Israel. If you're rejecting the King of Israel and you're not willing to submit to him, how can I submit to you and apply these verses to you? Facile. No difficile. Did I say that right? Facile. Rabbi, don't tell me these verses talk about the unsaved rabbis when you yourself are not submitted to Yeshua as King of Israel. And they can come back and you say, yes, we are. We're submitted to Rabbi Shpino, and we're submitted to Rabbi Akiva, and we're submitted to the Rambam, and we're submitted to Rabbi Nachman, and we're submitted to the Ramban. Time out, honey. Are they the Moshiach, the King of Israel? Are they the one that were declared to be the eternal King? Are they the Son of Yahweh that according to Psalm 2 verse 7 says, kiss the Son, Nashkubar, Psalm 2 verse 12, lest you perish when his anger is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they who put their trust in him. Are you the one I should kiss? Is Rambam the one I should kiss? Are they Yahweh's son that he put on his holy hill, Sion, Psalm 2, verse 7? These verses can't apply to them. It applies to the elders in the gates of Israel. We are Israel, these are the gates, and these are the elders. Amen? Amen. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Am I preaching good today? I know I'm preaching good, because I have a redeemed remnant still here. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. We close with this. I want this to hit home. Has this hit home yet? That when the Shameshim give a verdict, it is Torah. That is so foreign to us, it's so hard to receive. It's very difficult to receive. Because we look at Tehillah, and we look at Roberto, and Rabbi Moshe, say that's not Moshe Rabbeinu. How could that be Torah? That's called the renewing of the mind. Got to have that mind renewed. Well, didn't Yeshua say when you lose your life and your rights, you'll find it? When you save your life and your perceived rights, you'll lose it? Isn't that what the kingdom is all about? When you give up your rights, you'll find it. You'll find justice, mishpat, and shalom. When you try to hold on to your rights, and you try to hold on to your life, you'll lose it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Look at verse 12. But the man or the woman, generic man, who acts arrogantly, listen, that does not listen to the Kohen or the judges, the elders, that stand to serve before Yahweh Elohim, or to the judge. People say, well, Rabbi, no, that's not true. This is talking about the priest. It's not talking about the Hila. It's talking about the high priest. Okay, no problem. Now we continue and tell me if it's still talking about the high priest. It says the priest or the judge. Hello? The priest or the judge. And when you're going for judgment, you're going to the judges, aren't you? If you're going to the elders for judgment, that makes them de facto, ipso facto, judges.
Ipso facto. Hello. Ipso.
It says when, verse 12, the man who acts arrogantly, that does not listen or guard their Torah, their judgment, their mishpat, their ruling, those who stand to serve Yahweh or Elohim, or to the judge in those days, the man shall die. So you will purge Achan, you will purge the sin from Israel. Well, Rabbi, that means if I don't listen to the elders in small matters and to you in large matters, that means I'll die? Probably not, because we are truly under the covenant of the fullness of grace. But I'll tell you one thing that will be the first thing to die is your peace. One of the first things that'll die is your peace. Because you didn't reveal it, you didn't come clean. And the whole congregation, through ripple effect, travels into the valley of Acorn. Are we on? Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. So then we shouldn't see the leadership as our enemies. We should see them as the healing virtue and the channeling of Yahweh's virtue to his covenant people, Yisrael, knowing that if a matter is truly major, it will get to the rabbi. You don't have to bring it to the rabbi, because technically you don't have that authority. You can, but you're overstepping the authority of the congregation. And the major matters get to the rabbi, and listen, even then, if a matter is major, very rarely will I make mishpat on my own. Hello? I'll consult with the shamashim, the elders. I'll consult with the rebbitzin, and then I'll consult with my elder brother. Sure. So even then, in the major matters, there's still what? A team rendering mishpat. And look what it says. Do not turn to the left. Do not turn to the right, but do according to all they shall command you. Again, the message, not if, but when trouble brew. Trouble's going to brew up again. This time, every one of us ought to be prepared. Every one of us. We ought to know what to do next time trouble brews. Father, we thank you. We thank you for your word to us today. We thank you for your admonition to us today. We thank you for the word of seal that has come forth from the Miami Beach Yisrael Revival. Let this word convict of sin, righteousness, and judgment to all your people in all the scattered countries of their exile. Oh, Abba Yahweh, take these words, send them in exile after your people in exile. That rabbis and pastors would duplicate these tapes. And they would not trample underfoot the set apart things, but would receive them as they truly are. The divine Torah of Yahweh that we are to shomer, that we are not turned to the right or to the left. Because Yahweh, you say that if we do not heed the counsel, that death would come upon individuals. not necessarily physical, but even a death in victory, or a death from understanding, or even a death from overcoming. Oh, Yahweh, we don't want any kind of death. So, Father, we thank you for this, your Shabbat. We thank you for the remnant of Yisrael that gathers under the tents of Shem. And we thank you through Yeshua HaMoshiach. Kol HaKehillah Yamru, Amen. Ve'en.